Hey guys, what's up? I am Rosie, and since Halloween is almost upon us, I wanted to give you guys a countdown of my top favorite 15 horror movies and franchises. The reason that I put the franchises in there instead of the individual movie is because if I broke them down into each individual one, I'd have to just do a whole nother video, and I don't feel like doing that right now, but maybe some other time. But anyways, here is my top 15, and this is clearly just my opinion. Number 15, Interview with the Vampire. The movie was made in 1994 with Tom Cruise, Brad Pitt, and Antonio Banderas. I had to stop for a second and think of his name, but I loved the movie. Well, not really loved it. I liked it. It was more than just okay, but it wasn't excuse me, it wasn't great. My first time seeing the movie was this year after I had gotten home from the hospital in July, and my youngest child, wanted to see it, was curious, so I found it on eBay and bought it, and when I got home, we watched it. So far now I've seen it twice, and it's pretty good. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. It's not a movie I ever thought I was going to watch. It wasn't really on my bucket list of films to watch, but I don't hate it. So I guess it just has to grow on me more before I think it's perfect or whatever, but it was good. Number 14, Trick or Treat. I really like this movie a lot. It was way better than I thought it would be. The first time I heard of it was on the Dead Meat channel, and he did a kill count. And so watching that made me curious about the film, so I found it on Walmart.com, bought it. And Sam, little Sam, he is so cool. I loved it, the spirit of I guess the Halloween spirit. He seems like the keeper of the Halloween spirit, and if people lose their Halloween spirit or don't follow it the correct way, they're dead. So yeah, this was pretty cool. I liked it. Number 13, The Exorcist. There was no way that I could not put this film on my list. The first time I ever watched it was as a teenager, so this was years and years ago. And back then it didn't really scare me. But as I grew older and started to understand spirituality and stuff more, I do find it kind of creepy. Not really scary, but more creepy. Because that type of thing can happen to people. I don't know if it happens quite to that extent, but I know that it could happen. I'm not going to explain how or why. Maybe I'll do another video on that one day explaining why I believe this, but yeah, The Exorcist was good for its time. The effects weren't special, they were simple. I mean, it was the early 70s after all. But for what they had and the work they did, it was really good. I liked it. Number 13, Psycho. I love the original Psycho, and I hate that they went back and did a shot-by-shot remake of it. Why reboot it if you're just going to do the same thing over again? And so I guess by rebooting it shot by shot, they didn't want to take away from the integrity of what Alfred Hitchcock had already perfected. But also it kind of did, because Vince Vaughn, though he is a good actor, he was not as good as Anthony Perkins. He didn't have the same sense of vulnerability or innocence as Anthony Perkins. All Vince Vaughn really had was crazy. He had crazy and awkward, and that's how his portrayal of Norman Bates came across. But the original Psycho I loved, and the first time I saw it was, I guess, 2 years ago on Halloween night during a marathon of Alfred Hitchcock films, and I really enjoyed it. It was the first time that I actually really sat down and watched it, and it was really good. Number 11, Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. This movie had Billy Zane, and it's the first time that I actually remember seeing him ever. And I thought that he was just phenomenal in it. I haven't seen the movie since the 90s, so I would like to try and find it and watch it again and see if my memories of the movie is as fond as I'm remembering it now. But for what I remember of it, it was a pretty good film and I would like to see it again. Tales from the Hood with Tom Wright, and Tom Wright was a zombie killer ghost in Creepshow 2, as well as in Tales from the Hood. Lamont Bentley played Crazy K, and he was from Moesha. Corbin Burnson, famous actor, he's like probably the only white actor, or at least the only white actor that I remember in this movie, other than the sequence with Crazy K. Clarence Williams III, and he was the dad in Purple Rain, and so him playing the crazy mortician guy in Tales from the Hood was really a stretch. And David Alan Grier, the character he played was so much of a departure from his comedy stylings and In Living Color. I was really surprised by it, very impressed, and I loved what he did there. And it showed his range as an actor. And Joe Torre was one of the gang members in the film. I watched the ending of the movie, and the ending of it was as good as I remember. I saw clips of some of the movie on YouTube, and I really want to get this movie again. To my surprise, there was recently a part 2, the Tales from the Hood 2, that came out recently, and people don't seem to be liking it that much. I saw clips of it on YouTube as well, and it really doesn't seem to be that good. A different guy has taken over playing the Clarence Williams III character. He plays something totally different, but at the very end it's basically kind of the same. They're storytellers, and at the end you get to see their true form. And I mean, I don't know why they did it. I just think they should have left it alone. Number 9. Number 9 is Friday the 13th. Of course, I had to put this iconic franchise on here. Everybody loves them some Jason Voorhees, so I had to put this on here. I have to be honest, I haven't watched as many Friday the 13th movies, I had to put that TH in there, as I should have, but I plan on doing it one day, just maybe not right now. But I mean, for the ones that I have seen, except for when Jason went to space, I think that was Jason X or something like that, they really shouldn't have tried that. But other than that, I really like Jason. He's cool. Fright Night, number 8. I had to put my movie on here. I love Fright Night, the original, 1985. Chris Sarandon played Jerry Dandridge. I talked about it in my favorite movie vampires video. I just love this movie. To me, it's an iconic movie and a standout because I went to see it in theaters as a kid, and I screamed on one part. If you want to know which part, you have to watch my vampire video. So, yeah, Fright Night. Now the remake, I also have that one, and Colin Farrell, I guess he did okay. The remake, the reboot, was not exactly the same at all, honestly. And David Tennant was in it also. I love how he played his part, but they should have him something. Sorry for that cut. they should have named him something different, because even though he was supposed to be like the same type of character, it wasn't the same, so they just should have given him a different name. But for what it was, I guess it was okay. Colin Farrell wasn't as seductive or charming as the original Jerry Dandridge. Colin Farrell was sexy in that he was good looking, but he was more vicious, wanting to get more to the kills, and he even came off as a little bit awkward on some parts. But it was okay. I mean, it's not the most terrible movie I've ever seen. That will be Jeepers Creepers, but that's just me. But I mean, it was okay. Number 7, Queen of the Damned. I am obsessed with this movie. I think my first time watching it was like April or May. I started watching clips of it and stuff on YouTube. And I love Alia. I have always loved Alia. And I was so sad when she passed away that I was in denial. So she really did her thing in that movie. I loved it so much. But what really made me buy the movie, I'm kind of ashamed to say, was Stuart Townsend. I'm not ashamed to say it for the fact that that he's good looking or whatever, and I have a huge crush on him now. I'm ashamed to say it because that is like the only reason that I bought the movie, and then I became obsessed with it. I love it. Most people don't, and I guess I can understand why. So I also bought the books, the Anne Rice novels. Buying Interview and Queen made me want the novels, so I have 4 of them. And I mean, I am obsessed with the movie to the point that I even became obsessed with the soundtrack and bought it. And I'm not a soundtrack person. The only other one I have, just like I said in my vampire video, is Purple Rain. Purple Rain and Queen of the Damned, that's it. Number 6, Halloween, the Halloween franchise. I own 1 through 3, and I saw all the other ones except for Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. I don't really plan on seeing it. It doesn't look like anything I want anything to do with. But I did see the first one and I wasn't impressed with it, I'm sad to say. I am interested in seeing this new one that came out with Jamie Lee Curtis. I love her. I think she's awesome, and I want to see how they changed the storyline and how they explain it away and everything. I want to see what they did with it. Number 5, Nightmare on Elm Street. I grew up on this franchise. Freddy Krueger might be my most favorite Hollywood slasher monster ever. You know, he's funny, he's just evil, he's unrelenting, he's unrepenting, he's just an icon, and I love him. Robert Englund did a wonderful job as Robert Englund for all those years. I mean, as Robert Englund, duh. I mean, as Freddy Krueger for all those years. And if he ever did another turn as the finger knife wielding bandit, I wouldn't hate it. So yeah, I never saw the reboot, and some people liked it, others really didn't care for it, so I don't know if I'll ever try to watch it. I don't think I will. But I hear that the guy who played the new Freddy just, I guess, more loyal fans like myself just didn't like it because he, to them, wasn't Freddy. So I guess I can understand that. Number 4, Child's Play. My youngest child and I spent all week watching the Child's Play series. I bought it, and I have all 7. and we watched from the first to the last. And the first night we watched it was Tuesday night, and we only watched one, and then we got sleepy, and then every night after that we watched 2 movies a night. We finished them off last night, and I have to tell you, other than the first film, Curse of Chucky was wonderful, and I also really adore Cult of Chucky. It made me really, really want to see an 8th and final film, just so they can just finally kill Chucky off. They need to kill Chucky off, because I hear there's a reboot in the works, and I think that out of respect they should just let there be an 8th and final film killing Chucky off for good, so that it can be over and done with for the classic Chucky fans. But for what it was, I loved how they shot it. I loved how it looked. I love how funny they made Chucky in the last one. I mean, it's just wonderful. I love it. It was just, I love it. Number 3, Creepshow. I have Creepshows 1 through 3. My favorite is Creepshow 2, even though it didn't have as many stories in the anthology as the first one. But I did love it. What I love about the first one the most, well, let's just say that the creeper in that one is the reason that I don't like the idea of anyone looking at me through my windows. That idea just creeps me out to no end. It scares me, and I just never want to see it. If you've never seen Creepshow, you have to watch it. It's a great series, but I'm warning you, number 3 is trash. I wouldn't waste time with it. The only reason I got it was basically to say that I have all 3, but 3 is trash. Sometimes I want to get curious and watch it again to see if it's really as bad as I think it is, but something tells me that if I do, I'll regret it. So, yeah. But 1 and 2, I love forever. Hellraiser, number 2. I think I have all the original Hellraiser movies. I love Pinhead. I think he's just awesome. And in all honesty, I really think they should have stopped at 4. The fact that they went on after that was kind of unnecessary. Basically, number 4 was kind of unnecessary, but it helped explain why that building at the end of 3 was the way it was, I guess. But other than that, anything after 4 was pretty much unnecessary, and they should have stopped at 4. Number 1, and this is my own personal pick, The Lost Boys. David, Dwayne, Marco, and Paul are my iconic vampires. I love them so very much. Not so much Michael, but hey, what are you gonna do? The movie helped spawn the rise of the 2 Coreys, and it just made them stars for a time. And I just love the movie. It's my all-time favorite. I love that movie so much that I don't even wait until October to watch it. I just watch it whenever. And to most, that won't be so weird, but I just love that film. Cry Little Sister has to be one of the most awesome soundtrack records ever recorded. I love that song so insanely much, and I have a friend who recently did a cover of it, and she did an amazing job. She has a powerful voice, and she just did wonderfully. And my honorable mention is The Prophecy. The Prophecy stars Christopher Walken as the Archangel Gabriel. And And I am in love with that series. With this series, though, here is another one. They should have stopped at 3. They should have stopped at number 3 because, like I said, with Hellraiser, anything after number 3 was just unnecessary. It was just Kari Ward, she tried it, but even Tony Todd couldn't add anything really to it. But 1 through 3, they're wonderful, and I love what they did with it. Glenn Danzig was briefly in the second one, and when I found that out, I had to watch it again because I didn't realize it was him. But yeah, and also it made me discover Vincent Spano. I guess that's how you say his last name, Spano. I hope that's how you say it, because I don't like mispronouncing anybody's name. It's disrespectful to me. But anyway, I'm like obsessed with him too. He's just beautiful. He's gorgeous. I've seen him on Law and Order SVU a few times, and every time I just kind of get dreamy-eyed when I see him. Same with Stuart Townsend when he was on there. But yeah, I love the movies even without Vincent Spano. I'll just say it that way. I just think they did a wonderful job with it, and I loved it. But anyways, you guys, that's my list. Those are my picks for top 15 favorite horror movies and franchises. Tell me what you think and what are your favorites. Thank you guys so much for listening. Hope to see you on the next upload, and bye for now.